Hey everybody, welcome to Snow Talk. Been a few days. It's a little harder to get these out when we have some active weather going on, but at least get a chance to talk to you guys about the setup for the next few days, including tonight's. So first off, of course, a lot of you already heard of this, especially the snow lovers, but the snow stats, 8.6 now for the season. Normal is 11.8 by this stage of the year. Last year to date is where we maxed out, basically 2.7. It's not hard to beat last year, considering how sad last winter was. Alright, so what's the game plan? Well, this morning we're getting some sun now breaking through these clouds, but the clouds are increasing, and they will continue to increase, and it's going to become a mainly cloudy day. We're going to then get these snow showers and squalls. Already seen some now moving into Jennings County, northern areas of Jackson County. That is going to be the trend. As you look at the satellite image, you can see that mostly cloudy sky developing. If you look carefully, you can still see the snowpack right on the ground, roughly through here is the snow still on the ground there. Led to fog this morning in that area. But here's the wider view, and these snow squalls are part of a trough that is dividing up, digging out across the Great Lakes. Wow! All right, it's been a long day, guys. Sorry about that. Diving out across the Great Lakes into the Ohio Valley. Now, the majority of this, if you just look at the trajectory of the angle of where it's going, a lot of it's going to aim across the bluegrass area of Kentucky. However, the trough itself goes like this, is going to kind of drop down and push like a wave. It'll kind of just smash down through the Ohio Valley. As that happens, we'll get more and more activity to kind of develop a little more to the west, which would aim more toward I-65. That's why we've got the chance for a lot of us here for these snow showers. These are the type of things here where you get a mix of rain and snow at times, because we'll be above freezing. The cold layer is fairly thick moving our way today, so even if we're at 40 degrees, it could still be snowing. But I think we will get some rain mixed in with it. See, that is, it's to the point where it certainly could happen. It's around the edge. But it wouldn't surprise me if some of you just stayed snow throughout all these snow squalls today. That wouldn't surprise me at all. Now, the problem is tonight the actual air temperature will drop into the lower 30s and then eventually into the 20s. As that happens, we really need to watch these squalls carefully, because they will have a lot of gusty winds with them. The visibility will be reduced. The snow amount is not going to be the impressive part at all. But having said that, it won't take much to cause slick roads. So that's the setup there. Let me show you what it looks like on the higher res models that show how we'll see these squalls continue to develop today. Again, main concentration will be north and east of us for most of the daylight hours today. Once we head into the evening, we'll get that smashing down effect, and they become a little more prevalent closer to I-65. At this point, though, we're already getting closer to the freeze marks. This is where we need to watch them, and certainly at this level they can accumulate. And mostly in the grassy areas to start, then going over to the roadways. In some cases, if it comes down hard enough, it will accumulate on the roads. So be aware of that. And then they'll just fade out as we enter the overnight. And then we drop into the 20s. So anything that does fall and stick will likely stay there, mostly overnight, including the slick spots. Amounts, again, not overly impressed with this. Not everybody's going to get something on the ground. That's not the case. These don't work this way. They're picky, if you will. Snow squalls are, so they could hit one area, even one neighborhood, and leave the other one fine. So the chances there for a lot of us, but I think the best chance to be in that zone of getting maybe a half inch or so out of this is going to be what I have outlined here. And just make sure to stay tuned throughout the day. We'll keep you updated on this. Now, what is interesting about the forecast is really beyond tonight, is how we were seeing a warming pattern building in. We were going to get a warm front, and then we would get a chance to get some warmer air, and some thunderstorms. The trend, though, the past few days, as this trough digs in tonight, it kind of retrogrades back into eastern areas of Canada and gets reinforced. So it keeps the trough going all the way through at least the start of the weekend. So the warm front that is still on the maps, trying to move our way, it's got its limits of how far it can go. It'll eventually put the brakes on, but the warm front will become the guiding line for areas of low pressure to track along it. So if the front stalls out very close to this area with the colder air to the northeast, and you got areas of low pressure tracking along it, then you got to watch areas where that overlapping is of the track, the storm track, and the colder air, and that's where we're going to deal with some precipitation type issues that will likely develop. And as we advance this is the Euro, but you get an idea as one of those waves moves by. You see it's right there. It's right there on the edge of being rain or snow. Same story really Friday morning and Saturday morning, but we'll see how this trends. Most of wave country will likely end up as rain, and even those that do have some snow could even go to all rain as we get into the warmer part of the day. It does not look to be significant at this time, but we'll watch it. They look to be fairly fast moving, these little pieces of energy. Sunday is when we try to warm up into Monday, but even then it's not a huge surge of warm air compared to what it looked like before. So I did back down from the 70s and went back to the 60s. I hated doing that. I was looking forward to a 70-degree day, but right now I think that's going to be tough if the track continues to flatten out. It's going to be tough. But it will be a warmer setup. But then we deal with that low moving in with rain and thunder, but look what happens. A flatter setup, and it's trying to get itself into a flat-out colder setup. It's trying to cross over that threshold, the Euro is. But it looks like at least rain to start with, and then going over to snow Monday night into Tuesday. First day of spring, by the way, is Tuesday the 20th. And then look what happens. Becomes a nor'easter. Number 4, potentially showing up. And then we deal with another wave of warm air trying to move in. That one I think has a better chance of being more successful in our area. So there's a lot to watch, guys. Not only for tonight, but we'll monitor the weekend trends on the rain snow line, our northeast counties especially. And then we got to set this Monday through Tuesday setup is going to play out for us. I think it's going to be a little interesting there. It will be similar as far as its track, I think, of what we just went through. And now that's why I think it does bear watching. Alright, so one of the reasons why, too, is looking at the indices. The NAO, the Euro, was trying to go neutral, if not positive, which would allow for a warmer setup to try to build in. But ever since then, the runs keep going back to negative, allowing for a more of a blocking, more of a coastal system to develop, which will become the nor'easter. But for us, it means also a colder system. When you look at even the PNA, you want a positive PNA if you want cold and snow, and it was going negative to indicate a warmer setup, but now it's trending neutral and then eventually trying to get the positive. So the indices are certainly indicating that a faster pattern is going to develop Monday and Tuesday, which means you're not going to have a lot of warmth. It also means the Euro got a whole lot of cold, but it is trending toward the colder idea. That's what my point is on that. All right, let's look at the long-term Euro that came out. This is going to be the end of March, close to it. Colder setup in our area. The last couple of days of the month. Very active storm track, too, the last 2 weeks of March, by the way. This is more of a severe weather look. The last couple of days of the month. We'll see how that plays out. April. First couple of weeks of April. Trying to show signs of trying to go back to a colder setup. We don't want that, but it's possible. And it also indicates a wetter than normal April coming our way. I have a lot of good news here, guys. We're hoping for a warm pattern here in the spring, and it's trying to get out of this cold setup, but it's clearly evident we're going to have a tough time getting out of this colder pattern. So this is not unheard of. The past several years, it seems like we've dealt with this, but this year may be tougher than normal. We'll see how it plays out. That's it for today. We'll talk tomorrow.